So when I was a child, my father was my hero. And I always knew that his father was his hero. My dad spoke so highly of his father. Unfortunately, his father passed away when he was 59 years old, not much older than I am right now. And it hit my father very hard to lose his father at such a young age. But he died from prostate cancer, metastatic prostate cancer that just ate his whole body up. And again, this was in the 60s, and they didn't have the treatments that we have today. And, it was a different world. Anyway, so my grandfather died in April of 1969. And I was born in September of 1969. And I never got to meet him. And all my life, I grew up hearing my dad revere his father. He loved his father, just like my son loves me. My little boy worships me, and I see that my dad worshiped his father the same way. And as a child, I was a little bit sad that my father didn't have his hero around anymore. But I was also sad for me that I didn't have the grandfather that I had heard was such a wonderful guy. And I was raised in a very Christian religion, church, and taught to pray. And we prayed regularly. We were taught to pray, when we went to bed at night. And taught to pray in a way that it was like speaking to another person, not just, like the Lord's Prayer, but pouring out our heart type of prayers. And so I kind of learned that at an early age. And when I was about 10 years old, I had this longing to know my grandfather. And I remember for months going to bed and asking God, I hope someday I can meet my grandfather. And this went on for a long time. A long time now as a 55-year-old man, but when you're 10 years old, it seemed like a long time. But every night I would remember praying, I want to meet my grandpa. I don't know how. Hopefully, if there's a heaven, I get to meet him in heaven. This went on for a while, I would say several weeks. And one night I went to bed, said my prayer, and went to bed and fell asleep. And sometime in the night, I had a dream. And in the dream, an older man came to me and said, Tom, I'm your grandfather. You wanted to meet me, and I wanted to meet you. I'm sorry. He talked to me. He introduced himself to me. He told me that he was waiting to see me, and he would see me again someday. But not to worry, and not to stress over it anymore, that now I'd met him. And this dream, visitation dream, I guess it's called sometimes, set my mind at ease. And I never again, to this day, okay, this happened 45 years ago, but to this day, I don't feel like I never met my grandfather. I feel like I met him. I feel like he talked to me. He introduced himself to me. I got to know a little bit about him. And while I don't remember all the details of the dream, I remember waking up the next morning and just feeling like, okay, I know my grandfather. I'm good with this now. He put me at ease. So a lot of things have happened in a lot of years of my life, and I've seen lots of death, and I've had both my parents die. But I knew them, And I didn't need a visitation from them. I didn't need a dream from them. But I needed that from my grandfather, and he gave it to me. So I don't try to explain it. I don't try to deny it. My beliefs are very different now than they were when I was a child. I don't follow the same religion. I don't pray every night when I go to bed, whatever. But I never deny the dream that I had. I never deny the experience that I had that set me at ease. I understand my grandfather better. I understand my father better. And I think I understand my son better because of it. So that dream was life-changing to me in a lot of ways. I met my grandfather, and his DNA flows in my body, and I know it. And the similarities we have as human beings, as men, as members of the same family, I feel and I understand much better because of that. And I learned that at a very young age, and it stuck with me.